Allie, and in today's video I am going to be telling you about paranormal experiences I had as a child. These are all true stories, but obviously I don't know, it kind of depends on whether or not you believe in ghosts, of whether or not these stories are truly true or not. But in my mind, when I was a child, they were pretty true. So I'm going to be telling you guys some of those stories today. I asked you guys to vote on Twitter which story time you wanted, and ghost stories was one of the options, and that is the one that is currently winning, although I'm not sure which one will end up winning because I set it for 24 hours, but I literally tweeted it like 15 minutes ago because I'm not patient and I wanted to film tonight. So this is the one that won for now, but if you guys want to see one of the other videos, just let me know and I will be happy to do them. Ghost stories was actually my least favorite because I didn't really know what exactly to talk about because I have had so many experiences, but I don't really know if any of them, you know, are true or if it was just my childhood imagination, but I'll be telling them to you guys anyways. And I apologize if there's this awkward drumming sound in the background. It's not like my music being weird or your headphones being weird. My dad is in a band and they practice in my basement, and so I'm 2 floors higher than them, but we can still hear him because he plays the drums and it's like the loudest freaking instrument. Okay, so to start off, I have to give you guys a little bit of background about this first paranormal ongoing experience that I have had in my life. So this was way back, I would say 10 or more years ago, before I lived in this house. In my first house that I lived in when I was little, I would say around 4, I started getting these dreams slash hallucinations of this woman who was kind of like a motherly figure who would come into my room at night and stare at me in the door, and she wouldn't really talk, but she would say like single words or like muffled sounds that you kind of could make out. And so how my old room was set up, and I'll try and find a picture of it and I'll insert it here, so my bed was facing the door, and so I could always see the door, and so usually every couple weeks this woman would come to my room, and she was all dressed in black, and she would speak to me. And I was never really like afraid of this woman. In fact, I was kind of comforted by her because she would just like talk to me in this like weird, like almost like singing voice, and it sounds really creepy, but as like a 4-year-old I wasn't really creeped out by it. And to this day I don't know if it was a hallucination or an actual dream, because I do get hallucinations while I'm sleeping. It's happened before. One time I was hallucinating that a guinea pig was in my bedroom, and my grandma came in to say goodnight to me, and I was like, "Grandma, watch out, there's a guinea pig on the floor." And like when I'm in that state, you're not going to be able to convince me that there's nothing there. And so my grandma was like, "What? There's no guinea pig?" And I was like ready to fight with her that there's one there because I'm awake, but I'm not really awake. I'm like hallucinating, and so it's really weird. So I don't know if it was that was happening and I was just hallucinating this woman, or if it was a ghost or a dream. I don't know. And as I got older, still living in that house, that dream slowly started progressing into different things. So then I started waking up in my dreams, still in my bedroom, like exactly how it was, but there would be bats flying all around the room, or my window would be open, or like something would be off. I remember this one dream that I had, there was a black sock hanging out of my window, and I like knew in my head, I'm like, oh my god, it's the woman's sock. She left, she went through my window and her sock fell off. And for years that freaked me out because I knew that I had this sock in my room, like somewhere. Each time I would dream, the sock would be there, and I was like waiting for the woman to come back to get it, and she never did. And that was really the last dream that I had with her in it, but I would still hear the voices sometimes, and I would know that she was there. And so when we moved to this house, I was kind of convinced that those dreams would stop until last year, I want to say in March, she came back. And this time it was extremely different and extremely terrifying. So again, I mean this part I know was a dream because the rest of my family claims this never happened. So this dream slowly came back and it was weird. So I would have this ongoing dream, like a repetitive dream that would say, at 12 o'clock the man comes up the stairs. And so I was always like, what the heck does that mean? And so in my dream at 12 o'clock there was always this man that would come up the stairs, and that was the first time that I had a man in my dream. And then this dream slowly then progressed back to the woman from childhood, which was really weird because I hadn't seen this woman in my dreams for years. And so now suddenly this woman was back in a dream, and she was coming up my stairs at 12 o'clock. So in my room now, kind of the same as my old house, my bed still faces the door. So in this dream, I had woken up knowing that this woman was going to come at 12 o'clock. And I went to stand at my doorway to wait for her, which is the first time I ever got out of bed in one of these dreams. Before, I've never actually gotten out of bed. I've just been sitting up looking around my room. And so this woman was coming up the stairs and I could see her. And when I opened the the door all the way. She was standing right in front of me. And there was then this voice, who was the man's voice of my other dreams, who says, as long as you don't touch her, she can't hurt you. And so in my dream I was really confused because I was like, this woman used to be so nice, what happened? Why isn't she talking now? She used to make these beautiful singing noises. And so I was looking at her and like in my head I was like, I just want to touch her, I want to hug her. So I went and I did it thinking maybe that would help. Well then this woman tries to bite me in my dream and she like latched at my face, and so I ran down my hallway to my parents' room in my dream screaming to my real mom, like, Mom, we have to hide, this woman's coming after us. And so I grabbed my mom and like pulled her into the closet, and all of a sudden our power went off in my dream, and so we got in the closet and it was pitch black. We couldn't see anything. And I was like, Mom, she's here, she's real. This woman that I've been seeing in my dreams all along, she's real, and now she's out to get me. And I think in my dream I kept thinking, I was like, oh my god, it's because I moved. She doesn't like me anymore. She found me after all these years. She's getting her black sock back. All of a sudden we heard this breathing next to us. I'm like, Mom, like, we're gonna die. And then all I remember like in my dream is my mom screaming, and I like remember thinking like, that's it, my mom died. And then she bit me, and I think I died too in my dream, because that has happened to me. I have died in my dreams before. And I woke up and I was sitting in my bed like staring at my door, and I was so paranoid from that point forward that I started moving my bed around my room. At one point it was against this wall, it was against that wall, I had it sideways against that wall. Now it's back like normal again because it's been over a year. It was terrifying though, and like to this day I have not had that woman in my dream again, but I know it's the same woman because it's always the same like scenery. Like there's this weird dullness to like the rooms, and everything's kind of old looking, but I count it as being pretty paranormal because it's extremely realistic. And I know a lot of people get reoccurring dreams, but these were just in a weird order and it was very strange. So that is like my first paranormal experience. And now to move on to the next ones that aren't dreams. These are actually ones that have happened, and now I'm like so paranoid because I don't like talking about this like woman thing. So kind of going in chronological order here. My next ghost, his name is Fred, and he is our friendly house ghost that my brother and I named when we first moved into this house, and it kind of links to this other ghost. I'm not sure if they're the same ghost, but they're here. So in my basement, when my brother and I first moved here, we were exploring our house, you know, looking around. And in my basement we have this unfinished part that is behind these two like wooden big doors, and that part is creepy. I don't like going down there by myself. I don't even like going in my basement by myself because of these two wooden doors. So behind them is just like where our heater is and all of our storage and stuff, where we pretty much keep all of our house junk. But when my brother and I first moved here, we thought it was a really scary room, and we were convinced that there was a ghost in that room named Fred, because every single time you would shut those doors, there would be this banging, and the door would actually physically shake, and it would usually come in like knocks of threes, like knock, 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 and the door would shake. And we were like, oh my god, what is that? Like, we locked Fred in the room, we need to let him out. So we would open the doors, and then like the knocking and shaking would stop, but as soon as we closed them again, it would continue. So realistically, this was probably a draft or something. It does still happen. Occasionally, which is weird. Like, it's not all the time, it's only sometimes, and the door will like physically shake and knock, and there will be weird noises from inside that room, and we named him Fred. Going along with the Fred theory, we've never seen Fred outside of the basement besides if you are sitting in the corner of our family room in this one chair that we have in the corner, and you're sitting there usually around like dusk, or usually around like dusk when the sun is setting, or like really late at night, you'll see this black figure come from the basement and go into the bathroom, and it's always doing the same exact thing, and you'll only ever see it out of the corner of your eyes, but like even if you turn and look, like it's there. It's this like black thing that just moves from the basement to the bathroom like repetitively, and I don't know what it is. It looks about like the size of a person. I'm not really sure. No one here in this house, I don't think, has ever died. They did have animals and pets before us that could have possibly died. And we've had cats, but this started way before we had cats that passed away. And it's always doing the same thing. And so like you'll like try and go look, but there's nothing in the bathroom. We've redone the bathroom since we've moved here, but I don't know what it is, but we've kind of linked those two together as it's all Fred. Fred likes the basement, and sometimes Fred has to go to the bathroom, so he comes upstairs and he goes. And that is our like little paranormal thing. And so for a long time, my brother and I were really obsessed with ghosts, and so we decided on Halloween that we would prank my entire 3rd grade class that we had ghosts at our house. And I'm pretty sure there are probably still people that believe that I actually had a ghost, which was never there. It was never true. But I made up this elaborate story that on Halloween we set up security cameras to record ghosts at our house. And so it actually all started accidentally because my dad wanted to take a picture of my brother and I on Halloween. And so as he took the picture, my brother and I kind of jumped up like that, and it created this weird, like, blurry figure of 2 people standing on our front porch. And I'll try and find the picture and I'll insert it here if I have it. But it looked really ghostly and really realistic. Because we also had this black light thing behind us, and it looked really creepy. And so I brought that picture in to my 3rd grade teacher, and I was like, look what we captured on Halloween with our security cameras. There were 2 ghosts on our front porch. And so forget it, the entire class was convinced. They were like surrounding me. I remember we tried to go and check out books, ghost books from the library, and they had all been checked out already because people wanted to do research about ghosts because of me. But all along that picture has been totally fake. We just wanted to convince people that our house was haunted, which I still do believe that it is, but not for that reason. Those were fake pictures. That was me and my brother jumping in front of a black light with a bad camera from the 90s, or the 10s, the 2010s. So then the last major ghost story that I've had, and this one is creepy, which is why I saved it for last. And this is because I have all of my friends to like count on for this one, that this actually happened. So every year, I would say from when I turned 10 until I was like 15, I didn't do it last year, I had my birthday party at my grandma's shore house down in Long Beach Island. My grandma has this big fancy shore house that we've had since I was a little kid. The house has 7 bedrooms, so 6 of the bedrooms are in the actual house itself, and then one of the bedrooms is you have to go outside to get to it, but it's still attached to the house. So that's where all of me and my friends were staying at the time. And so all the bedrooms are on the bottom floor of the house, and then you have to go upstairs to get to like the main level and the kitchen and the family room and all of that. And so we were staying outside in this room, and we had been all freaked out because my grandma loves to tell us ghost stories, and she's always told us them. So we were all laying in our beds, and there are these bunk beds away from the rest of the house. It was really quiet, and we were all freaked out. So we were sitting there, and we're like, all right, if there's a ghost in here, please knock. And so we waited for a couple seconds, and we all had our hands up because obviously none of us were gonna knock, and there was a knock on the door. And so there's only one way out of this room, and it's the door, and that's where the knock came from. So now we are like 10-year-olds, we are totally panicked, we didn't know what to do, so we're all just like jumping up and down, screaming at the top of our lungs, hoping that someone was gonna hear us. So finally someone opened the door, and we just like ran inside the house, and my dad had been walking down the hallway to find out like what we were screaming about, and I just remember like we trampled my dad. The poor, like the youngest girl that was with us, who was a year younger, was like hysterically crying. Like we were all like hysterical. It was bad. And we were just screaming, and like someone had said like, oh my god, I saw it. And so we were all just like standing there. So I don't know if that was actually a ghost. No one to this day has admitted to knocking. I feel like someone would have by now. It was a legit knock sound, and it was a loud bang, kind of the same bang from downstairs in my basement. It was a bang on that door. And yeah, I mean, I think that just after all of these experiences that I've had, I definitely do believe in ghosts. I've had other weird things happen that have been kind of paranormal, but never like ghostly experiences before. But I have had a lot of paranormal experiences where weird things have happened at weird times for me. Yeah, but those are pretty much my ghost stories. I do believe in ghosts, and I do believe in some sort of afterlife in that ghostly matter. I would love to come back as a ghost. My grandma always tells me there's 2 things I'm not allowed to do in life. My grandma's like, if you ever get on a motorcycle or ever get a tattoo, I will come back and haunt you. And I genuinely believe that my grandma will haunt me, so because of that reason, I can't do either of those things. I like do believe in ghosts. My dad has had paranormal experiences. My grandma has a ton that I could tell you guys, but my grandma tells them better. So maybe I'll do a video with my grandma sometime where she can tell you legit ghost stories, because they are horrifying and they're real and they happened, and it's terrifying. Like one of our houses in Connecticut was built on a graveyard, and so as they were building our house, they dug up a gravestone and they gave it to my grandma because they didn't know what to do with it. So she drove around with this tombstone in her trunk of her car for like a year, and the thing's name was Maria something. And then around that time, my grandma started having this weird garlic smell, and her cat would like watch this like ghostly figure move up and down the stairs every night. And so eventually my grandma put 2 and 2 together. She's like, oh my god, maybe it's Maria. So she looked at Maria, and sure enough, Maria was from Italy, and in Italy they used garlic, and so that was a freaking Maria. Yeah. So, but let me know what you guys want to see next, and I will make sure to do that. We'll see you guys in my next video. I love you all so much. Bye!